Greetings, Vault Hunters all across the 6 galaxies. Welcome to the Bordercast. We are live at our usual time, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm Mitsu.
And I'm Tess and Mitsu, coming to you every week to break down all things Borderlands.
As always, we want to take...
But before we continue, just a tiny caveat to that first statement. Our usual time is actually changing. One more time, friends. We are moving south to 2 p.m. Eastern. What time is that in all the other schedules? Oh, God. Time zones. 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m.? No, 7 p.m. UK. 7 p.m. UK. That's going to screw me up every time. It's okay. 7 p.m. UK, which I don't know if that's better or worse for our wonderful friends in the EU. But anyway, it's minor change. Starting next week, 7 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Please continue.
I was going to let them know. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Please. Come on. I'm a professional. No, I'm not. All right. As always, we want to take a minute to thank all of our new listeners on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and SoundCloud, and those watching right now live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and see more later on the VOD on YouTube. If you are enjoying the program, we would love for you to give us a big old like, follow, or favorite in the hopes that maybe one day I won't have to say this as much. Just as much. Bag is here. Triple G is here. We have friends. That's crazy, right?
They're amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you so much for hanging out. We also have the wonderful guest of Quag's kitty in the background, and I'm sure that Triple's doggos are lurking somewhere. You may hear from them later today.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a lot to talk about today. So we're going to run through all the stuff that you probably already know, but we're going to say it one more time just real quick. Designer's Cut is out now. You know it, you love it, you've played it. Borderlands 3 is available on PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Get it now, get it fast, enjoy it. I definitely will as soon as I actually have a next generation console. Bunkers and Badasses is coming. Tessa's going to smile because she can't control it because she loves it so much. And crossplay is coming, we promise. We just don't know yet when, but yeah, it's happening.
It's coming. Mitsu and I think, have seen this across the board on all platforms everywhere so much. We get this question more than any other question. So please, no, it's not being ignored or anything like that. It's just that we don't have a date, right? I don't think anybody has a date for you guys right now. However, it is for sure coming. So just please be patient. It will be here when it's here, and it'll be awesome whenever it gets here.
Yes. Indeed. Next up, we'll talk a little bit about what we were doing. Let's start with our guests. Quag, it's so good to have you on the show. We're going to talk a little bit more about you in a minute. But first, what were you doing this past week in Borderlands?
This past week in Borderlands, I've been messing around a lot with Amara. I've really been enjoying Amara's Purple Tree. Before that, it was kind of inspired by a flak build that I have made and that I ran through the cool community challenge that Triple G ran, and I assisted with a bit behind the scenes. That's been a lot of fun in the community. Community's really come together lately to make a lot of awesome content for Borderlands, and I've been enjoying immersing myself in that as much as possible, doing lots of cool things in that vein.
It's very good. You participated in this community event, but this was a little bit more of you on the back end, not so much on the front end. I believe you mentioned it on another show that you will be on next week, Ultimate Vault Hunters, and you mentioned that you wanted to take a step back a little bit. Why was that? I
wanted to let other players shine a little more, and that sounds conceited when I put it that way, but I'll explain it a little bit. So in the Endgame Rush Challenge, which is the first one Triple G ran, I competed. I ended up being a finalist. I was the number 3 runner, the top flak time. And a question about rules came into the forefront about, hey, a lot of people are using these very powerful Nova spam or rocket launcher spam stuff. So Triple G, being the very intelligent, beautiful bearded man he is, decided to enlist some help with the rules, and him, myself, and Lazy Data came together to try to create a rule set that would get as many people interested as possible. And something that you could infer from the leaderboards of each competition is that people get less interested when someone right out the gate puts up an amazing time. And what we want to do is get as many people as involved as possible in competitions like this, so that people can improve together. The best thing about competition for me is if you have someone right behind you in time, you want to improve yourself. You want to do better. You want to do everything that you can do with your setup. So I decided to do other things mostly. I participated a little bit for the One Tree Skill Challenge, but I was more happy to watch other people participate.
Very nice. Very, very nice. One Tree Skill really came together very well, and I enjoyed it also because in today's run of show, I got to put at least 3 more different jokes about one tree, because everything rhymes with kill, apparently, or skill, or hill. Whichever was the original hill. Hill, I think it was.
One Tree Hill is the show.
It's very referential, which if you've watched this show for any length of time, you know I'm always thinking about ways to kind of connect things back to other things that I actually got yelled at. I got yelled at in the early development of the show because people were like, well, don't use too many references when you're doing a show like this because people might not get it and then they'll get left out. But conversely, I say, look at Arrested Development. It was one of the best shows ever, and you reference things all the time, whether it be in universe or it be connecting things. And with Borderlands, Borderlands is built on references. That's why I think a lot of us love Borderlands. There's a reference to Tommy Wiseau, one of the most obscure directors in the world, who self-financed one of the worst movies in the world. You know, you don't. You just think he's a wacky, creepy director guy who wants you to obtain his film and then kill a whole bunch of people in the process. This is how it works. So I think it fits right in with the theme of it. Anyway, Triple G, what were you up to this week, bud?
I spent all of my streaming time bar 6 minutes. So I streamed 4 hours on Thursday, 4 hours on Friday, 4 hours on Saturday, and 3 hours and 56 minutes farming the DNA with Next to Mags Corrosive.
Nice.
It's very specific.
Well, because the spring wouldn't drop at all with Next to Mags Corrosive. So it became this thing that I had to carry on. And it was getting me so irate that the breaks that cat is climbing the wall. The breaks that I needed were to actually run the most sweaty One Tree skill runs ever, just so I could break away from farming the DNA. It was a nightmare. But yeah, I had fun doing it. It was nice to farm on stream again because I like just not really having to concentrate and just talk to chat. So it was nice to get back to farming again.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. I've been watching people run, last week, really, I was watching more people run the challenge, and just kind of watching people's streams a lot. I've been a little bit out for the count, recently because of surgery, but I'm feeling better. I have another one coming up in a few weeks, but hopefully that one will not, it'll either be worse or better. We'll see how it goes, but hopefully it'll be better. And then the one after it should be much better. But I started a TDR One Life run, which is going to be interesting because TDR is changing a little bit today in some lovely hot fixes. We'll get to that in a minute. So I'm really curious how that will change my little One Life TDR Allegiance run that I started. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's been good. What about you, Mitsu? What have you been up to?
So I've been a huge fan lately of the true Molly-Wand takedown. Now that I can actually do it comfortably, like back in the old days. And it's made me very happy because I can run through this. I know that I can get through it in 20, 30 minutes, which means that people who are doing it in 4 minutes are still blowing my mind. And that's without skips. So excuse me, you guys are...
I'm with 26 points.
Crazy. Yeah, so there's that. It's provided me a new, fun, unique context to how to play the game. I really enjoy Wotan. Really, really enjoy fighting that entire fight. Every single phase of it. I've found now that I can actually consistently beat it, especially, doesn't feel like I have absolutely no chance. I will die 10% of the time. I'll know what my mistakes were, and then I'll correct them next time. Oh, I shouldn't push phase at this point. I should be focusing on clearing out the ads. Oh, I shouldn't do this. Oh, I shouldn't do that. Because I'm not going in there with a one-shot build. I'm going in there with a plasma coil and a build that I made just because it's comfortable for me to play. It's not going to blow everything up immediately, but at the same time, I get to see every single phase and play it out, which is, I think, how it was intended to be in the first place. But when it first came out, it was so ridiculously difficult. I think only one human being alive could beat it at that point, and his name was Lazy Data, who did it obscenely. I think it was within hours. And Graham was like, "What happened? How? No, we did not."
Your mug is very appropriate all of a sudden.
Yeah, just floating eyes right there. These are the floating eyes of all the Gearbox devs looking at Lazy, being like, "How did he do that?"
He's lazy. He's just...
That's scary. I don't ever want to see that again.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's unbelievable.
He's pretty incredible. He's also had a bunch of input, I believe, like behind the scenes for your event, right? Triple, like, has been trying to help with everything. That's really cool. All of you guys that sort of understand the math and or the many maths involved in this game just blow my mind. I'm excited. Yeah, there's so much. And I remember we had, I think it was Thick Fillet that was it Thick Fillet that presented that crazy equation on Ultimate Vault Hunter way back when?
Yeah, the Digiclone formula, right?
Yes. And that was one of the, like, we all knew that there was a lot of math behind the scenes, but seeing it and trying to say it in a concise form and trying to show it, because I actually made the graphic for that, and it was kind of like, okay, how do I actually fit this on a single screen? Was really eye-opening and cool. And there's so many of the creators that are sort of into that and understand that. You guys are all the best nerds ever, and we love you. Quag is one of them. He'll be on the Ultimate Vault Hunters show that we are doing next Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. That hasn't changed. That timing hasn't changed, so it'll be a fun show, you guys. I think you guys are in for a treat.
I agree. But you'll just have to wait another week and 2 days. Or no, a week. That's right, because we're on Thursdays now. I have lost track of days ago. You just have to wait one more week to see that right here on the official Borderlands channel. All right, next up, they announced a few hours ago that there were some changes that get put into the game via something we like to call hotfixes applied.
Just a few.
Yeah, that setup gets better and better every time. Or worse and worse, I'm still not sure. The first and most important one is there's a new event, because co-op loot drop is unfortunately over. But Gearbox, not resting on their laurels, decided they were going to go in a little bit of a different direction, promoting one of my personal favorite things to do in Borderlands. Over the next 3 weeks, Gearbox plans to bring forth 3 new mini events focused around Arms Race. The first, Clear Skies, will feature enemies having a chance to drop better loot, and the Murder King will take longer to close in on you. Therefore, you will have more time to get out there and grab as much loot as you possibly can. I love this change. I love it, because it means I'm going to have more time to run around and do everything that Arms Race has to offer, more time to grab guns, more time to find chests. It's going to be wonderful. I love this. Quag, what do you think?
Arms Race has been, since it came out, one of my absolute favorite things in the entire Borderlands franchise. I think it was a fantastic idea. They implemented it in such a great way. The bare bones nature of it really brings the game back to its roots of, hey, gun game. You get wacky guns, you run around, shoot the crazy enemies, and you try to get more wacky guns doing it. And this particular first event, first of 3, which is better than anything I could have ever hoped for, is gonna, like Mitsu said, let you do more of the things you like in Arms Race. Let's say you get a really cool gun you haven't had a chance to use in a long time, but it's towards the end and you can't quite get to any of the chests because they're outside the Murder Cane. Well, if the Murder Cane is slower, you have more time to go use the things you like. And Arms Race is just great. I've wanted, since the day I first jumped into it, I've wanted them to expand on it, and that's exactly what they're doing. And I'm over the moon about it.
Oh yeah, by the way, I knew we were going to get along. I knew we were gonna. You and I have the same feelings on like so many different aspects of this. I f***ing love it.
We do.
It's so good. But yeah, no. Triple G, what do you think?
Sorry, I was being distracted by my dogs. I muted the whole howl, but Jenny didn't know that I was on Bordercast, so she was going, "Tell me again, tell me again." And yeah. So no, I like it. So what I'm going to do with it is, because I've pretty much got most of the gear, I'm going to go and see every nook and cranny of Arms Race under no time kind of pressures, because you're always kind of chasing your shadow, getting pushed towards the center. But with the extra amount of time, you'll be able to kind of explore. Like somebody in the very, very corner of Arms Race designed a door that I've probably never seen. It's probably got some writing on it that I haven't seen because I've always in a rush. So I'm going to go and have a look at Arms Race and just see all those little finesse touches in Arms Race. But, you know, you're probably going to be able to hit every single chest if you're semi-competent-ish. So you'll probably be able to hit every single chest. So if you haven't already got those comms or there's one particular chest you can never quite get to, I suppose you'll be able to get there now.
Yeah, for me, I'm super excited because the next change I think might hurt me just a little bit in this TDR Allegiance run, but this change, this is going to be perfect, because the first thing I did when I started, and people question this very intensely, but I thought it was the right thing to do, from conversations with the Priesticles, actually, who was the person that inspired all my one life runs in the first place. I love doing them because I love the extra kind of challenge, and I actually really enjoy running through like the story and all the different locations in the main story and the DLC again, because eye candy. So anyway, one life runs are kind of my favorite thing. TDR Allegiance can be tough in the base game, I think. And one of the things that I knew would really help me from the beginning is if I could get that Dark Army, because it's ridiculously boss. And so the first thing I did when I started this one life run was just jump into Arms Race, and I tried to get a Dark Army. And I think it took me like 2 runs, or maybe 1 run, I'm not sure. But either way, it was really risky because I was like, well, I'm either going to get it or I'm going to die. But it worked out. And I got a Dark Army, and it has carried me through quite a significant chunk of the game since I started the playthrough. Now I'm kind of out leveling that, but I've been scared to go back in because it's such a risk. But I know it'll carry me through a lot of the rest of the game. So now that this event is happening, I'm like, this might be a good time to go back in there and get that gun again. It'll be good.
Tess, you mentioned there was a TDR change. What was that about?
So the next thing is TDR weapons have been adjusted. TDR weapons will now do less damage when throwing a near full clip, while throwing a weapon containing less than 3 ammo has been increased. So it's kind of a nerf buff. It's not really either. It's both. It's just a change, I think, from using the guns as basically grenades, which is definitely something that we've done, I've done as a player, especially in Arms Race.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, just basically anytime I'm doing like a one life run, if I pick up a TDR, that's how I use it. My instinct is to shoot a couple bullets and then throw it like a grenade, which is not really the way it's intended. It's more intended, I think, to be, and this is guessing, but I think it's intended to be more just a better way to reload, like a much more satisfying way to reload, which I personally appreciate so much. I hate reloading. Like, in general, it makes you stop killing things for a minute or, doing damage. It's so much more satisfying to just keep shooting. Like in Triple G's super awesome GT Shorty or Mama Bear builds with Moe's, I could just shoot forever, and that's part of why I love them. But with TDR guns, it's super satisfying to be able to do damage and chuck a gun grenade or like a super cute gun with legs or a big ball of like shoot me doom at things instead of the reload animation. It just feels better, I think, as a person doing damage in a video game, and so I do feel like the throwing them when it's nearly full thing is kind of an abuse of it a little bit. So I understand this change. I really like the idea of increasing the damage when it's less than a certain amount of ammo. I don't know if 3 ammo, I don't know how that will balance out, because I think some guns use more ammo. Like some guns will use 2 ammo per shot or things like that. So I don't know how this will affect specific weapons. I think I have to play the game more and kind of see, but it seems like a reasonable change to me.
No.
I actually think it's a buff, not a nerf.
Really?
Because it's more damage.
So, well, it is less damage, but if you think about the time, so it's still going to get mayhem scaling. So I think that most of the time, most people won't actually notice too much the difference between the enemies actually dying. But for people that don't concentrate too much, the one bullet and throw for the speed runs, for the the challenges, you might notice that. You might notice it didn't actually do that much damage. But for the people that just kind of do Mallow on takedown or play, I think that if they fire 2 or 3 bullets and then throw, you're actually going to get more damage because it's scaled better now. So I think for majority of the people, they either A, won't notice, or B, actually a buff. For the true elite min-maxers, they may notice, but until we see how much is reduced, it could be like the very first time they said they nerfed Ties That Bind, and Ties That Bind still destroyed the world. So
that's a really good point. I think it's both a buff and a nerf, like Tess initially said, because like Triple G just said, the absolute min-maxers, the people who see a change, they're like, okay, I need to get the exact percentage value of this and min-max my stats around this, the kinds of things I love to do. You'll probably notice a change depending on character. Like someone like Zane isn't going to notice. You have infinite gun damage as Zane. You're not going to notice at all. But on other characters, it might be more noticeable. And on a weapon by weapon basis, it could be different because there are TDRs that incentivize empty mag reloads already. We've got the execute, the pat, the anarchy. You can do whichever method you want. There's a lot of cool weapon diversity. You can do a lot of different things with TDR as a manufacturer, like Tess said, is just rewarding, productive. You don't have to stop doing damage when you reload. You can keep doing lots of things. There's so many builds you can do with it. So I feel like this is one of those changes that people might instinctively label a nerf to start with, but I'd prefer to use the word rework because this will let you go in different directions with it. Some positive, some negative, but what this is doing, regardless of how you feel about it, is promoting thought and diversity in build making, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So overall, you feel TDR isn't getting nerfed at all per se by this, and that TDR weapons that were viable will continue to be viable as a result, but the play style that you will have to undertake as a result of using these weapons will have to change. Not necessarily significantly, but enough where players will feel a difference in how they actually use TDR-based weapons.
I think until we see the number, we won't ever be able to see whether it's nerfed. Like if they said tomorrow that they were taking mayhem scaling off TDRs, then it would be 100% a nerf.
Yeah.
But because we just don't, if they just shave 1% off the top, then no one's going to feel.
And there's a buff in there too, right? So if you just shoot, right? So like if you get rid of the mentality that you need to shoot a couple bullets, and because like I only really do that, I think, when I'm in trouble. Like if I'm trying to get myself up from being downed, or if I'm like, just from my own personal experience, everybody plays differently, but my own personal experience tends to be I like shooting the guns because I just like that, the way it feels in Borderlands. I like the experience of it. It's a really good gameplay thing. Guns feel good, right? So I like shooting them, and then I like the animation of chucking the gun instead of reloading. However, if I'm down, my mentality is just like chuck guns because more damage. So I think that'll have to change, but you might do more damage overall because every time you actually reload, just naturally you'll do a little bit more damage, right? So you might not really pay attention. I think especially after a while, you might stop paying attention to when you run out of bullets, but you just naturally will be aiming at your target and reloading to do more damage to them, and you'll see how much damage that does. I agree that we need to see,
the majority of people that use the gun, actually use it and fire it, will see a buff.
Yeah.
It's just the people that one bullet click.
Yeah.
That may, because we don't know the numbers, that may see enough.
Yeah.
So me in arms race.
Yeah.
The
There is
effect
a
on
good
arms race is a good one. TDR in arms race was insane. I
Yeah.
feel that
It was admittedly
scaling
a
that
little
back
too strong.
yeah.
I think it makes sense. I did like seeing TDR kind of shine in arms race, but maybe this change means it'll shine more overall, which would be even better. Like I want TDR to be, because they're some of the most fun weapons in the game. Like they're fun in terms of, you know, the visual effect and the like guns with legs running around, which are so cute and just like fun. You know, like Borderlands is all about fun, wacky stuff anyway. And so this just speaks to that. This is just more of that. And I always felt like TDR should have been stronger just overall in the game because they are really fun and you shouldn't be penalized for fun guns by having them be less powerful. You should be rewarded for using fun guns. That's what Borderlands is all about. So maybe this is ultimately a buff. It feels to me like it ultimately might be a buff. I don't know if it'll be enough of a buff to make like an overall game difference, but we'll see. I'm excited to try it. There was a question in chat that we don't know the answer to, but I wanted to ask. Also, maybe you guys will be able to answer it. I wonder if this will affect Anarchy stack damage. I mean, I feel like does Anarchy stack damage apply to the chucked gun, I guess is the question.
It does. So the Anarchy has changed a lot over time.
Yeah.
The way it currently works is each time you reload, you get a stack, and that stack is a ridiculously large damage boost. The card undersells how well it actually performs. It's an absolute powerhouse of a weapon. If you look at the top times in One Tree skill, many of them use the Anarchy because the stacks apply to both the shots and the gun. But like I said earlier, Anarchy is one of those weapons because both the actual function of shooting the weapon and the reloads are both powerful. This change is both increasing the potency of the Anarchy in one playstyle and decreasing the potency in another. So you can't say for sure yet if it's a buff or a nerf. That's something that's going to take some testing, and it depends on how you as the player, as an individual, use the weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the weapon's ability that's the 400% buff, not the actual kind of the TD or kind of nerf. So it will probably take some off the top because the amount of bullets left in the magazine might get a nerf, but it will just still be 400% of what the capability was because that's the Anarchy's ability.
Yeah, I think we'll just have to try it and see. Which is, I'm definitely gonna try and do that. Like maybe I'll just go do that DLC next stream Sunday.
Sundays forever.
Yeah, so basically because of my surgery, I've missed a bunch of streams, so I'm just doing bonus streams for the foreseeable future on Sunday evenings. So you'll see me on most Tuesdays, most Wednesdays, except if I have an issue with surgery, which like I did yesterday, I had to go back to the dentist. Fun times. It's fine. Anyway, Sundays, I now stream most Sunday evenings on the Borderlands channel. Anyway, please continue.
Sunday. This Sun. I should have an echo going here. Hold on. Oh. Okay. Where is it? Sunday. This Sunday on the official Borderlands channel, Tessica is going to go ahead and play all of your favorite hits. There we go. That's it.
We'll be promoting the charity too. That was quite intense. Also, there's a really cool charity thing. There's a charity we're promoting. I'll be promoting it more on Sunday. The New York Video Game Critics Circle charity, which helps low-income areas in New York City with college scholarships and paid internships. 2K is matching all donations up to 10K. You can donate directly to the charity at the link I just put in chat. You can type !charity or !donate at any time in the Twitch chat. But yeah, I'll probably do some like incentives for Sunday's stream, and they'll be funny and possibly get me killed in the game. Probably get me killed in the game, but it'll be a good time.
Be toxic to the streamer for a good cause.
That sounds about right. That's what we do here.
Yeah. So there's some more hotfixes, and these I'm curious to hear what Triple and Quag think about these, because these apply to Amara. So Amara's infusion and forceful expression now work with the cryo element. Interesting. And Amara's ascendant now works with expedite.
I think we could probably, me and Quag, just sum it up by
Yeah,
And then-
yeah, this is good.
Thumbs
You
up.
probably
That
took
was-
too long on Tedior, so I'll just do that for you. For Amara.
Big-
Very, very good.
Big,
Real-
very intense thumbs up for those listening.
Yeah, for those. Real quick, because I remember this is sticking out in my head. I don't know why. And hopefully both of you gentlemen can shed some insight into this. If I recall, there was a period where we had Lazy on, I want to say maybe 6 or 7 months ago, right here on the channel. And he mentioned that Ascendant did not work with Expedite. How big of a change is this actually for Amara?
Well, Amara as a character is visually designed around action skill use, but in actuality, she's got the least tools to make her cooldowns as fast as possible relative to the other characters. Mose does it better, Flak does it better, Zane does it better. Expedite is one of Amara's sources of cooldown, so that getting stronger just lessens one of Amara's weaknesses. So that's just good. That's good character balancing. It's bringing everyone closer to being on the same playing field in multiple aspects.
Nice.
It's more because like most of the characters can, in one way or another, just chain their action skills. Whether that's Zane just keeping his up constantly, Mo's jumping out of Iron Bear too early, Flat going into fade away with a brainstormer or whatever, just getting it back real quick. Amara has that melee skill that gives her like a 20% chance to instantly get her cooldown back. But having this work now with Expedite, I mean, you could only go maybe like 5 or 6 seconds without the ties that bind with Expedite currently, but expect that to be shortened quite dramatically.
Real quick, do you think these changes make her more competitive in events? Let's actually back this up and ask this question retroactively. Would these changes have made Amara more competitive in your previous events?
No.
Not enough?
No. So the big one is having she can heal off cryo, because she had the cryo tree and she wasn't able to heal off cryo. So as a quality of life, yes, but she doesn't have enough damage and she can't push out enough damage in a fast manner to compete with some of the builds that we've seen in the challenges.
Exactly that. Her ceiling just isn't where the other characters' ceilings are, in terms of putting out as much damage over a wide radius in a short period of time.
But that chat, I see Amara bad. It doesn't mean she's bad. It
No,
just
not at all.
means she's not suited to speed challenges.
Yeah. Speed.
And I think that's something going forward that we'll definitely take a look at.
Yeah.
Because there's more variety of challenges that we can definitely put out there.
I would love to see that. Like, I love seeing speed challenges. I think it's a good challenge for a lot of people. I think it's something like speed runs in general are so fun, and there's such a kind of clear thing that people can cheer for. It's fun for the runners. It's fun for the audience. It's a really awesome thing. I've always loved watching speed runs from AGDQs and SGDQs from way many years past, and it's a really cool thing. But I would love to see some challenges that don't focus on speed, maybe, or in some way, which it's hard to do that. Like I would love to help with that if you guys have ideas. I just don't know. Like, for me personally, doing speed, and I know Mitsu has said the same thing, it's really hard because you really can't talk to chat when you're doing that. You just like have to focus on doing the run. And I'm very bad at not looking at chat. My partner and better half has literally made fun of me for looking up at where chat is on my monitors when I'm not streaming and I'm just like playing a video game. He sees me do it and he's like, "You're not live, are you?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Why are you looking at where the chat is?" And I'm like, "Because I am really used to it." I can't not
Because that's
do
where your
it.
brain goes.
Yeah. So it's really hard. It's hard for some of us. And I would just love, like, I would love to have like a different kind of challenge that also allows people that maybe play a different way, not just streamers, but just in general, people that play a different kind of style that's a little bit more slower paced.
And I think when, and I mean, I know we got a segment on it, but I'll touch it briefly. When we did One Tree Skill, I got flooded with submissions, like flooded. And there were people that were doing it in 30 minutes and 17 minutes, and they didn't even care about their time. It was just, I did it in 26 points and it was done. So there is the appetite there. The the ease of time is that it's something that we can measure very easily and validate when we want to have submissions. And like trying to, because I was trying to think of it before, like, and it would be like, can you one shot this boss, or how much damage can you hit? The problem is if you hit damage cap and you don't get a number, we can't compete that way. But yeah, if anyone in the community has suggestions, then I'm more than open to them.
Yeah, I would love, like, I can't think of a good sort of concept for something like that, but I definitely, please tweet them at us if you guys have ideas. At me and Mitsu, we'll pass them along to the relevant party of Triple G, who's become like the challenge host, which is really awesome. Thank you for doing that, Triple. Seriously, it's really fun. It's fun as like a just an observer. I really did want to do this challenge, actually, because even though I'm not a speedrunner and I'm not good at these kinds of things, I really wanted to try. It's just surgery and various things kind of prevented it this particular time. But it was still really fun to watch. Like, I love cheering people on, and it's been really cool to kind of observe the community going through this challenge and putting their best forward and enjoying the competition, right? So I just want to see more stuff like this. It's really fun. So thank you for putting it on. Thank you for organizing it. I know how hard that is. And thank you, Quag, for helping. Thank you to Lazy Data for helping. Thank you to all the participants. You guys are awesome. So yeah, it's cool. We're going to talk about it a little bit more later. I know I kind of skipped ahead. I'm sorry.
We'll talk about Garwood later.
We'll get there. Believe me. Yeah. We're going to rock through a few of the rest of these real quick. Iron Cub, or as Tess likes to say, Baby Bear, will now receive action skill damage boosts from class mods, which is a wonderful change. Moses' Desperate Measures, Stoke the Embers, and Scorching RPMs now work with Iron Cub as well. That sounds like a huge change. Just real quick, is it as big as I'm suspecting it to be?
Feels big to me.
It's
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah.
It's bigger. One of the talented Mo's theory crafters is in the chat there and alerted me about the magnitude of that change, the implications of that. I had an inkling, but essentially a lot of the community knows how powerful Auto Bear is, right? You sit Auto Bear down there with maybe some rail guns and it just snipes everything out of the sky, hits everything. It's ridiculous. Iron Cub is going to be on par, if not better than Auto Bear after this change. So you'll have a mobile version of Auto Bear running around. You don't need to aim at anything. You can sit back, have a cup of coffee, and your little cub will just destroy all of these enemies.
And I think one thing that stood out for me was, so they've applied action skill damage to effectively what is a pet. And I wondered whether, because there are some, but only a few pet builds for Black that can kind of solo. Is this something that we could see for Flak that will give some of the not so fashionable, that Jabba that carries the barrel around next to me, like, are they going to, is this a path for Flak? Because I know he has pet damage in his tree, but there's really not a lot of pet builds out there that really do focus on pets. So it could open the door for a few of those as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And Flax Purple Tree kind of opened up the door to that as well, since a lot of Flax Purple Tree buffs the pet, whether it be through damage or through giving it more health to make it more tanky. So yeah, you're absolutely right. There are options there for people to enjoy if they want to go that route. Let's see. Players entering Arms Race will be fully healed. That's just, I mean, if we could also make it so that when players enter Arms Race, they get all of their ammo refilled, that's the golden right there. That's exactly where we would want to be, because the problem is not having both.
When I read the hot fix, I was like trying to pull the lines apart. I was like, where's the ammo bit? Where's the ammo bit? I like, yeah.
Even just this is really big, though. If you're running any build where you reserve any of your health, whether it's a front loader, a death list, or Moses' thin red line skill, when you load into Arms Race, it doesn't give you that health that your gear is taking from you back. So with this change, you now have that quality of life where you don't have to start an Arms Race run with 1 HP sometimes.
Yeah, or so switch your items or anything like that. You can just, which I think is what it's meant to be. Arms Race, I feel like, is literally meant for you to just be able to, like, let's say you have a lunch break and you just need to clear your head and shoot some stuff. You can do that. Like, you can just jump in and play. You know, let's say you just want to play with some friends and like they are all over the world and it's hard to find a time, but everybody has like an hour and it's this 1 hour where you could do it and you could just jump in and play together and you don't have to think about it. And the the less time you spend like prepping for the thing, and the more time you actually spend doing the thing with your friends, the better it feels. And this is, I feel like it's just a really nice quality of life change. It's not a worry anymore.
Yes.
I'm also biased towards anything about arms race since I love it.
That's very, very fair. Believe me, I understand it. Weapon adjustments real quick. Baby Maker had increased weapon damage and fire rate. Sledge's shotgun, increased weapon damage. Scorpio, I read earlier, I think Lazy Data ran the numbers, 400% increase on weapon damage on the Scorpio. That is an unholy number, but a wonderful one to see. And the Bearcat increased weapon damage as well. So there's a few more changes to make a few more guns out there feel, or at least become relevant in the current meta scene. Any of them stick out to you, gentlemen?
And just need to do my... You carry on.
Do your thing. The Baby Maker one could be really nice because the Baby Maker has this reputation for not being so good as a TDR because it consumes so much ammo. It consumes a full mag for each of the little mini drones it makes. So you throw the Baby Maker like 5 times and you're completely out. But them choosing to do this while leaving that mechanic intact incentivizes it by, hey, this weapon chugs ammo, but you get damage because of it. Increasing the damage while leaving that mechanic intact keeps the Baby Maker in a spot where it has its own identity, right? You want massive amounts of damage at the cost of a lot of ammo. Maybe your build has a mechanic to get your ammo back, and that's not a problem for you. So this would be a weapon that you could do that with. I think these kinds of changes show some thought, and I like that.
I think for me, like the biggest thing to come out of last week's hotfix was the DNA. And I know when I spoke to Killer Six about it, it was like, this is a weapon for people that don't have the DLCs. So they have something that competes in the top echelons of weapons, even if you haven't got the DLCs. The Scorpio may be in another category now. So I think it's really good for diversity because, you know, I see it on YouTube, like what's an alternative to Flipper? What's the alternative to Light Show? And now there are some viable options.
Excellent. You love to see it, as they like to say.
Yeah, definitely.
So, moving forward, TVJ Quag.
Sure.
Welcome to the program. We are so enthused to have you on. I can't believe that we finally made it happen. It's been a little while in the works, but we were so glad to have you here. As we like to do with people who are on the program for the first time, we like to sit down and talk with them a little bit to get to know a little bit more about them, and therefore have the community get to know a little bit more about them. So first and most important question, who are you? What are you about?
So for those who don't know me, hi, I'm Quag. I've been in the Borderlands 3 community since launch. I only started out as a creator relatively recently. During the Cartel event is when I did my first stream. But I am mostly known for my work as a theory crafter in the FLAC community. If you don't know, there's a community FLAC builds document that's 49 pages long that I maintain. It's got resources and mechanics and stuff. My name's on that. That's probably where you've seen me before. But I do stream 6 days a week on Twitch, mostly doing cursed builds and feeding my totally not unhealthy arms race addiction. But hey. Yeah, I do FLAC and I do arms race. I've been playing Amara lately, and my chat, some of whom are in the chat right now, love to roast me about betraying FLAC. But I like playing different things.
You mentioned there was a 49-page document. Where can people find that?
People can find that. It's pinned in the official Borderlands Discord, in the Builds and Endgame channel. It is also, I can, it's also, if you go to my channel, Tess just linked there, you can enter !builds in the chat, and it will spit out links to all 4 of the builds documents. There's one for each character. Each one is maintained by content creators and theory crafters who I can absolutely vouch for personally. You guys probably know Thick Fillet does the Zane one, Lazy Data does the Amara one. We have a full team on the Moze one, some of whom are in the chat right now. We've got 3 people on the Moze one, and then I do the FLAC one. So lots of good resources there, all mathematically complex. And if you ever really wanted to dig into the mechanics and numbers behind what makes a build a good build, then those documents are absolutely something I would recommend.
Very nice. Many people are going to ask this one because it is not many times do you ever see a QU in somebody's name anywhere. How did you come up with the name TBJ Quag?
So this is a bit of a two-parter. I'll address the second part first. The name Quag came from a random name generator. This was 9 years ago when I was in a phase where I was playing a lot of MMOs. I needed a character and a family name for all of my characters on the server. So I went in the random name generator. I just I clicked random until it gave me something that I wasn't totally offended by. And I ended up going with Quag, and it stuck. And almost a decade later, that's what I'm going by. Now for the TBJ part, it's a reference to a nickname I had in high school that references my actual name. That's the J part. But my Twitch community has decided that TBJ stands for the Big Juicy because they make questionable decisions.
I'm sorry every time.
It's so good.
Yep.
It's so good.
It's never not funny.
Yeah.
Why would is it like a big juice box, or are you just like a large juicy human being? Like
I couldn't tell you.
You can't ask that of the man on stream. You can't ask him that.
I guess that's fair. Well, no. We put a thing that Tess, you ran the thing, right? That said that we're rated M for mature.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay, so as long as we don't go into adults only territory, we're still good.
No comment.
So you mentioned
only my camera's decision to make everything extra blue is saving you guys from seeing a beet red test that is the color of Triple G's shirt.
PG-13, yeah. That's how I keep my stream. Thank you very much.
I feel like my cheeks are turning about as red as Santa's during wintertime, so you're good.
I'm laughing hard enough to hurt my cheeks, so it's good. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's good. It's a good kind of pain. It means I'm healing. Anyway.
You mentioned you've played Borderlands since the launch of 3, or at least you've been in the community. Did you play any Borderlands before that, or are you mostly focused on other games and then 3 caught your attention, so you transitioned over?
I started Borderlands when the first game came out way back in 2009. I was in high school, and I saw a commercial for this wacky new shooter that had a really interesting looking art style, and they're like, oh, we've got so many different guns. So I was like, okay, let's go check this out. And I picked it up after school one day. I walked to the local game store and bought it with my allowance and walked back, and I went to play it, and it instantly grabbed me with the scope of it in terms of how many different things were going on. With the art style is instantly identifiable as Borderlands. You see it and you're like, that's Borderlands. And the weapons are so satisfying to use. I remember I got this Jacobs sniper rifle and it felt so fun. First Borderlands game, Lilith playthrough, I was using Jacobs snipers and Torg SMGs, and it felt great. So I played that when it first came out, and then when Borderlands 2 came out, I played that as well. I didn't play through the DLC season because life happened and other games were coming out, so I split my time in a bunch of directions. But shortly before the release of Borderlands 3, I got back into Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel, and I played through those. I spent a whole summer playing Borderlands, and I got back into things. I caught up on everything I'd missed in the intervening years, watched a lot of K6 YouTube playthroughs and whatnot. And then when 3 came out, I jumped in Lazy Data's chat because he was the guy who's like, hey, all my gear's anointed. And it was like the day after the game came out. I'm like, wow, this guy farmed all of this. He's already doing these crazy builds. So from then, I've just been a member of a few communities. I watched Lazy a lot, and months later, I decided to just stream so I could show people what stupid things I was doing on Flack. And a few months after that, I'm here. It's been a wild ride.
It's wonderful that the community kind of rallied around everything, and you've done such good works. putting together or like, I guess curating, we'll say, a 49-page document based around one character in a video game is no small feat. And the
Really
amount of
big
people
font.
who can, what's that?
Really big font.
That's it.
It's triple
okay.
spaced.
All right. See, that was the sneaky part. I forgot about that.
This
But
kind of stuff takes so much work, like
Yeah.
behind the scenes work that nobody sees necessarily, and nobody like what Triple has been doing with this challenge or multiple challenges that he's run with the help of Quag. What Quag is doing with this like incredible document that's available on the Discord. What the people are doing that run the Discord, like Sheriff Pyrek and a bunch of the showrunners there. Seriously, everybody that's there is amazing. And it takes a lot to deal with a lot of people and a lot of ideas and a lot of information and a lot of things going on and sort of condense all of that into like bite-sized forms that you can share with more people, because all of us have like permanent ADD in today's society. So not real ADD, but some of us, and even those that don't, there's just so much being thrown at you, and to like organize it all and maintain that all and provide it to people in a way that's digestible so easily is incredible. It takes a lot more work than I think people realize. And so it's just really, really, really cool of all of you guys to do that. Like, thank you, Quag, and thank you, Triple, and thank you to Sheriff Pyrek and everybody running the Borderlands Discord, because it's awesome. There's a bunch of showrunners there that I'm totally not naming right now because I don't know all of their names, but they're amazing. So you guys should check out the Discord, and you should check out Quag's document, and you should check out Triple's stream and Twitter and everything, because he's probably going to do more challenges, and also he's awesome. So anyway, please continue.
It is what one would call a labor of love.
Yeah.
That is what it is, because you guys are out there doing this not for fame or glory or payment or anything like that. You're doing it because you just love Borderlands. That's always great to see. That's what I've always loved about video games. So.
My Discord refuses to load to show Grumpy and Captain Pyrek and Ositter and Q and Sage 6 and Spy and YTF and Zawaruda. I'm just naming people that are like mods in the Borderlands Discord. Thank you to all of them, because they're awesome. Seriously, that place is awesome because it's a really great place to share builds and find builds and find other makers of builds, and people are just into the game to play it. You just enjoy it, whether you're casual or serious about it. And it's an incredible place to find other content creators. Just a good place. So you should check it out.
Oh, yeah. So, Quack, going forward, we talked about what attracted you to the game, but have you participated in any events as part of the game? I know we already can think of two, but there were a few others that happened previously. And that's part one. Part two of that question: have you attended any conventions in the past? Not the past year, obviously, but before everything went topsy-turvy.
So for part one of the question, some people who've been in the community for a long time might remember Moxie, another content creator. You've all heard of Moxie. Great guy, makes great stuff. Check him out. He ran a Malawan takedown challenge a year ago, and the goal was to get through what at the time was the largest scope and hardest challenging piece of content in the game. And it was to speed run that. There were some restrictions on which weapons you could use and whatnot, but it was the first of its kind for Borderlands 3. And that was actually my first ever YouTube upload, was one of my submissions for that. I started submitting my runs because I felt comfortable as a flag player, and I wanted to be up there with the best of them and just see how I stacked up. I ended up placing with the third place flak time.
Nice.
Third place. Overall, I think I was fifth place for total times. But there are a bunch of other notable content creators who got their start there, and a lot of awesome community members who participated, and that was great. So I got a lot of vibes of that with the two challenges that Triple G has run. The same sort of thing a year later. It just felt really cool to do. As for conventions, I have not been to any, and it's something that I'm hoping the state of the world allows for sooner rather than later. I'd love to go to some of these awesome conventions and meet some of these amazing people in the community. And Mitsu has been in my ear about it, like, hey, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. And I'm 100% for it. Don't get me too hyped, because then I won't be able to calm down.
Listen, there are two things I love doing when it comes to conventions. First is going there and getting to see everybody in person, because it's been far too long, and that's conventions when they were running normally. Now imagine conventions that haven't been running for a year. Imagine what that's going to be like when everybody gets to have that cool sleepover again for a couple nights at really nice places like Seattle or Orlando, or the places that we love to go. There's that. And then two is I bring the N64 and have an open challenge so that everybody who wants can sit down and catch these hands when we're playing Pokemon Stadium 2. So you got a lot to look forward to. And if that doesn't entice you enough, I will point out that a GCX 2 years ago, Borderlands had a presence. I'm hoping that when conventions happen again, that Gearbox and 2K decide to come back, because that presence will be very, very much appreciated.
I just want to see
their booth was amazing, and what's up?
I want to see conventions again.
Oh.
I'm sure it was really awesome. I missed out. I haven't been to GCX. I really want to go. I've wanted to go so many years. Like, things kept happening, and then the world went insane. So I really hope that eventually it comes back and Borderlands is there, because that would be incredible. And just everything happens. Tiny question to Quag. What time zone are you in? Don't tell us like exactly where you are, but just, time zone wise. Eastern. Okay.
Eastern,
and
yeah.
you stream in the mornings, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's awesome. And you guys should check out his channel, which I will put in chat one more time. But also, that means you won't have to change anything when you go down to GCX, and it'll be amazing. Right? Same time zone.
Yeah.
There it is.
More reason to be excited. I want it to happen.
What kind of streamer do you see yourself as?
I see myself as a very community-oriented streamer. Like, I want an environment where people can come and hang out and talk about anything and just be there with their friends. And on the side, I dig way too deep into Borderlands math and theory crafting in gaming in general. But that's a side dish. The main thing for me is just a group of people who can just appreciate spending time with each other. Like, the last year has been an interesting one in that a lot of people become isolated from their friends, their family, the people they spend time with in general. So spending this time on Twitch has really helped develop my appreciation for just human connection in that regard. And the Borderlands community is one of the best game communities I've ever been a part of, if not the best, in terms of people taking care of each other, respecting each other, just being awesome human beings in general. So I've wanted to emulate that in my own corner of the internet as much as possible. That's what's important to me. So in a nutshell, in my community, you can come and you can be silly, be utterly ridiculous, but also have a bunch of people who will have your back and support you in everything that you do. And you also pick up some wacky tricks about how to break the game with flack.
Love it. Love it. Who were some of your streaming influences as you were getting started?
Like I mentioned before, Lazy Data, who went from this dude I looked up to, who was doing these crazy things I never imagined possible, to a peer and a good friend. We talk almost every day. Sometimes I'll just message him to casually insult him about something like, oh yeah, right back at you. Because just a true friend, great guy, great content creator. Just a lot of how I model my channel is after how he made his. Another one who's a huge influence, like I mentioned, was K6. I watched a bunch of his YouTube content getting back into the Borderlands scene in general, and he's the biggest person in the community who embodies this aspect of community and togetherness and support. He's everyone's dad in the community. K6 is just that guy who, like, he gives you the nod and the shoulder pat. You're like, oh, I made dad proud, kind of thing. I like having something in between those communities where I can dig into the numbers and people can hang out and stuff. And the third person I want to shout out is I Love Cheese 2, who provided an environment where he's a nighttime streamer, goes live midnight Eastern, and I had a very weird sleep schedule at the time when I was getting back into Borderlands. So my insomnia it put me in a situation where I had a need of something to do, and Cheese was there. There was a community where not only could you see an awesome gamer play Borderlands and just be cool in general, but it was another one of those places where you meet some of the nicest people on the internet within the Borderlands community, and that place is absolutely no exception. So those three people I would call my biggest influences as a creator.
All wonderful options. And I'm sure that there are many others out there as well. So
we need to check out I Love Cheese. He it sounds like he streams like right when I'm falling asleep, but at some point I have my nights of insomnia too. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, I've heard good things because he's been part of the challenges, right? He's been on the leaderboards quite a bit for a bunch of these. We'll be showing you guys some of those leaderboards in just a moment. But yeah, Quag, thank you so much. Seriously, you're awesome, and thank you for being a part of all of this and joining us here on the Bordercast, and also Ultimate Vault Hunter next week. And it's just like one of the things that I felt like almost 7 years ago, which is crazy time. When I started streaming Borderlands 2, it was a recommendation by a viewer, and I had just started streaming. I've been streaming for like 2 days or something when somebody recommended it, and I was like, I don't know, I want to try new games. I did not get into streaming thinking it would be a career. I literally was just like, I want to play things other than EVE Online and have people to talk to, because I'm used to having people to talk to in EVE Online. So I'm just going to stream it. It was EVE Online people that recommended it, right? So anyway, I started streaming, and somebody came in and said, you should try Borderlands 2. I think you'd like it. And I tried it, and the community was so welcoming and so open and so supportive. And they were like, what do you like to do? How can we help you? Like, how can we teach you? How can we like get you cool things in the game so you have more fun? Like, let us try to like it was the most welcoming, amazing experience, and just like, thank you for joining that. Thank you for being that for a lot of, I think, viewers and a lot of people in the Discord and a lot of people in general, and I hope you feel that too from the community. I feel like Borderlands community is one of the best around, just in general. It's so supportive. Everybody everywhere, on Reddit, on Twitter, on Discord, on streams, on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook and even Steam. Thank you for those of you guys watching on Steam. You're awesome. Everybody's just really welcoming, and everybody just wants the game and the people playing the game to have a good time and to be good and to be fun. So I'm really, really glad you're with us.
It's great to be here, and I could not agree more with everything that you said there. It's amazing how many wonderful people are involved in this community.
I feel like people pay it forward a lot. Like people welcomed you, like K6 and Lazy and Cheese and everybody, and you're now welcoming others, and it's really, really awesome. And you're helping others with your document, and Triple does the exact same thing with his cool events and just awesome videos on YouTube and everything. All of the creators do it, and it's really cool to see that.
Yes. Speaking of community, there was a community-led event by our own Triple G, who is here with us today, that just recently concluded, the One Tree Skill Challenge, which has come to an end with Garwood taking the top spot in True Takedown, while Winnie the Pooh, no, not that one, won the Scaled Takedown Challenge. If you would be so kind, Tess, show the people that wonderful leaderboard, because some of those times are out of this world.
Yeah, these are crazy. It's almost insane to me, and I don't entirely understand this, and I'm sure Triple can explain. So first off, huge thank you to Triple for making this event a possibility. Thank you to everyone that helped, Lazy Data and Quag and everybody. You guys are amazing, and having community events, I think, is such a huge thing for this game and for our platforms and just everything. Like, I don't think that Borderlands 2 would have had life for 8 years, however long it went on, without like K6 and Jolts and a bunch of the creators involved, just like pushing events, pushing community content, things like the hunt, which I hope will eventually happen with Borderlands 3. We'll see. And it's just really, really amazing. It's amazing how the community comes together for cool stuff like this. And like, huge thank you, because I can only imagine the behind the scenes amount of work that Triple and everybody had to do just to like keep track of everybody. Like Triple mentioned, there's a ton of people doing submissions, just making these graphics and keeping track of everything and letting everybody know. It's really awesome coming up with the idea in the first place. An idea that makes sense, that's balanced, and is a cool challenge for people is not that easy. And it's really cool that people were able to participate. One thing that I'm really curious about is why the true takedown times are faster, like so much faster than the scaled takedown times.
So that is purely because the casuals kind of were put off by the fast times. So no one that was who I would consider like a hardcore player kind of dabbled in the scaled because they knew where they should be and should be competing. Like I think Garwood messed around on one stream just to see how fast he could get, how close he could get to 4 minutes on it. But some of the time, so like obviously Zane dominates the true takedown.
Yeah, holy crap.
Yeah, Lazy's Stalker run was insane. You have to see it. It's on his YouTube. You just have to see it. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Okay.
How he's pulled out a time like that. So one of the things that I like, so I'm not a speedrunner, but I actually got really invested in this and spent like a whole weekend just perma streaming it. So I started the challenge at 12 minutes, and then I made a massive jump to 8 minutes, and then I was like, well, hold on a minute. And then on the space of a weekend, every stream I was gaining 60 seconds. And then I spent the next like 2 or 3 days just stuck on just above 5 minutes, and I couldn't break the 5 minute barrier. So like anything that's like with marginal gains, kind of just pushing to try and shave off those precious seconds is like really good. And what happened, as with anything, like because we didn't allow rocket launchers in this one, and TDO came to the top of the thing. But if it would have banned TDO, then something else would have come to the top of the pile as the meta, you know. So we had to kind of draw the line somewhere, and I think it's worked really well. There are some diverse builds in there. So Winnie the Pooh used Terra and the Lucky 7 with Terra ammo regen. So the Lucky 7, for those that don't know, if you reload it, you can roll all 5 or 6 abilities at the same time. And then if you never reload again, you have ridiculous damage, ridiculous fire rate, amped, explosive, all merged into one. And then he used Terra with Rax, and then he used it with Mose as well. Interestingly enough, he used the same theory on Mose and on Flak, but just with Mose's natural ammo regen, and got exactly the same time with just 26 points.
That's totally
really
crazy. It's literally the exact same time. I feel like that's almost impossible to do, but it's right there. 5.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have the milliseconds, but it is down to the seconds. And then, so some of my favorites, some old guy at the 10th place on the scale, he was one of my favorite people, right? And Don Anzazor as well. I would get a message in the middle of the night, and it would vibrate my phone, and I'd look up on Discord, and it went. And at first, it was Zane's professional tree, 31 minutes 29, and I'm like, oh god. But at the same time, I'm like, he has had so much fun. Like, just he spent half an hour getting through it, but he's had. I mean, he might have had fun doing it. He might not have, but but he's gone to the trouble then to upload it to YouTube. Interesting enough, we only had 4 people do Amora, just 4.
Wow.
Versus like, I think probably submission wise, we probably had around about 50 in total. So it was really interesting, and again, it's because Amara couldn't match speed and damage at the same time. But there were some cursed builds in there, Punch Bot was in there. Obviously, anything Zane does was in there. What was the Punch Bear from Lazy as well was in there.
Terrifying.
I want to
basically
see that.
Punch.
Yeah, I want to see that now with the bear changes.
Oh yeah. Iron Cup, and there's
like I
crazy.
Can I please have? I'm just gonna say this right now. Can I please have a new Mama Bear, but with the, if there's any adjustments needed?
So I need to give you a new save file anyway. She's called Fight Cub rather than Mama Bear, but
okay.
she's there. One of the other things as well, like, so I know that we give Garwood some stick for being faster than everybody else, and I spent the last few days streaming, and I was just like, first he's actually second because no one's going to beat Garwood, right? But up until 2 days before the end, Garwood was at like 452, and he just kind of dangled this carrot in front of me where I knew that I could break sub 5, and I actually thought I could beat him. I had a 450 in my mind, and I was like, I can beat Garwood here. I can beat Garwood. And then he popped up in my chat and was like, just did a 431, mate. And I was just like,
what a
funny.
butt.
When he did that 431, I had woken up to get ready for my morning routine and stuff, and I turned on Garwood's stream for 1 minute, literally 1 single minute, and I see him do this 431. And the whole time, every time Garwood gets a crazy run, he's like, "Oh, this run's terrible. I did this wrong. I did this wrong. I did this wrong." And he's just there beating everyone, and we all hate him for it.
But just so you know, in order to get the 431, when the lift goes down after the first section of on Manawan Takedown, when you're going down the lift, Garwood waits for the lift to go down and drops. And through a Tedior, you won't even know this unless you look, there is holes in the wall. He threw a Tedior through the hole in the wall as he was falling, so it got to the Valks quicker, but still did enough damage so that it made the ads come out faster so he could save time.
Oh my
So he didn't
God.
skip anything, he just made them come faster. Like
Actual trick shot in the run.
Yeah, like he was literally like he would vertically drop and time a Tedior to go through this gap in the wall. It was ridiculous.
Wow, that's so impressive. Is this up on his
Also on YouTube. Also on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Side note about something you said earlier, Triple. When did you sleep during this competition? Because we had a group chat to discuss like rule disputes and things like that. It was me, Triple, and Lazy, and I would wake up and I don't know when this man slept. He lost so much sleep over this competition and put in so much work. So please, like, if you guys thought this challenge was at all fun, entertaining, even for a couple of minutes of your day, please support this man. He put so much work into this.
Oh, yeah.
Sleep's overrated.
Sleep when you're dead, right? So I just wanted to, because we are very, very pressed for time, but there are a few questions that I just wanted to get out there. Obviously, the community reception for the event has been absolutely stellar. It seems to be universally positive, and people are still hungry for more and more and more. So I imagine you've got ideas, without saying anything at all, but you've got ideas about where you want to take these community-led challenges next, and that's wonderful to hear and to see. I did have a few nuanced questions, though, but hopefully we can get through them fairly quickly. Which class comes out looking great from this challenge?
Zane by a mile.
Hitman.
Yeah. I had a feeling, based on the leaderboard, I had a feeling. It's important to do due diligence. So
he has his all of everything that he needs is in the blue tree, and then if you paired it with the Spycom from Arms Race, which gave him commitment, which is one of the most broken skills in the world. So you just put those two together, and he pretty much has his normal damage just with his 26 points because he can just go down one tree.
So yeah,
Blue
that makes perfect sense.
Perfect speedrunning tree.
Which will be good as speedrunning continues to grow. I believe Joltstu did a full game speedrun that was sub 3 hours.
Really?
So that's
Wow.
I remember seeing a tweet about it a few weeks ago, or maybe a week ago. But yeah, so finally speedrunning starting to make a really prevalent comeback, which is something that Borderlands 2 had in droves. Speedrunning was a huge part of the Borderlands 2 community, so that makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Who do you feel, which class lagged behind as a result of the community event right now?
So Amara definitely had the least amount of submissions. Mo's actually struggled as well. And Mo's struggle was kind of healing and staying alive because she had a lot of damage skills and she could take fire in the Skag's Den and TCP, but those are very dangerous skills. And in a speed run, you don't want to be really going into fight for your life at all if you can help it. So most kind of struggled in those scenarios. And I actually found Black was okay, but Zane is just streets ahead, as we say on my channel. He was just ridiculous. So,
and again, if you don't get that reference, you're streets behind. So yeah, based on the leaderboards, that made perfect sense. And this question is a little bit more specific here. Does this event feel representative of the state of the game as a whole, or do certain characters and builds excel only due to the stated rules and how they play into a certain character's strengths?
Zane is the most powerful Vault Hunter right now.
Okay.
And that is reflective in this challenge. However, Amara looks like she's not worth opening, and that's not reflective. Amara, all Vault Hunters are in a fantastic position right now, can do all of the content when you're not hamstringing them with 26 points. It's just that Amara's points are across four trees, and we restricted it down to one. Zane was more suited to that, and Mose and Flack did a better job of supplementing their one tree with gear, basically, and comms. They could get around it. I mean, Quag did it with 0 points, literally 0 points. So
yeah, Flack with 0 points because of class mod options was able to put up a better showing than Amara with a full skill tree, just because of the distribution of where things are.
That makes sense. I mean, I feel like this is a very specific kind of challenge, and it's not necessarily something that's needed to like balance characters in a way to just fit this one challenge. It's just a specific kind of speed challenge, so one Vault Hunter rises to the top. Amara is still very, very powerful, just maybe not quite as speedy.
And I think I get this question all the time in chat, and this is how I know that I think Borderlands is balanced right now. If somebody comes into my chat and says, I've just bought the game, which character should I pick? You can pick any. You can literally pick any. And that's how I know that the game's balanced now. Like before, when the game started and Mose was really struggling for a while and Zane was really struggling for a while, you'd probably edge towards one way or the other. And although there are some bugs with some of the characters, you can complete all of the content, no problem, with any 4 Vault Hunters.
And so that feeds me into my last question, which is for classes that are currently underrepresented in this event or maybe previous events, is there anything that can be done to bolster their competitiveness for future events of a similar nature?
Give Amara a better cooldown.
Yeah. Better cooldown and a little bit better way for her to kind of get her damage to stack to the insane amounts that the other Vault Hunters can. She
Amara's
is
behind
limited
in single target damage and cooldown. Those are her 2 areas where she's just not up to snuff versus the other ones.
Makes perfect sense, all things considered. I know it's just not her place to shine just by designation and where she currently sits, but it does sound like there are ways to make her more viable and competitive, hopefully in future events. And we'll have to see where that goes. Maybe DLC 6 throws in some new things for her to take advantage of that keep her engaged and interested in the scene. I wish we had more time, gentlemen. We could probably talk about this for another hour and a half. I'm running short, and I have something very special to do a little bit later that I literally cannot talk about. So that sucks.
It's gonna be cool, though.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, yeah. But gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Quag, thank you so much for your first time. Triple, we love having you on here as often as we do. Please, by all means, we would look forward to having both of you on again very, very soon. And so Season Pass 2, it's out right now. Designer's Cut, it's part of it. Director's Cut, it's also going to be part of it. We'll start with Quag. Where can the people find you?
You can find me at days a week, TBJ_Quag. Same thing on Twitter. I have a YouTube that I neglect, but mostly Twitter.
Very fair. And Triple G, where can they find you?
Triple G on Twitch and on YouTube, and just add ZN1 for Twitter. If you want anything to do with the challenges or want to see the past leaderboards, Twitter where everything's posted.
Mm-hmm. And Tess?
Right here on twitch.tv/Borderlands. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and now Sundays. Some Tuesdays and Wednesdays I may not be here just because of the surgery stuff, because that stuff all happens during the week, like yesterday. But I'm basically doing a bunch of makeup streams and bonus streams because I will have to do makeup streams. And I just want to hang out with you guys. So basically Sundays are like a guaranteed day to see me on the Borderlands channel in the evenings, Eastern Standard Time, probably starting around 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern. And I'll be doing a big, I think I'll try to do a big push for the charity this Sunday. So that'll be fun. I'll figure out some incentives where you guys can torture me to help the charity. It'll be a good time. So yeah, there. And also, of course, on my own channel, twitch.tv/Tessachka. It's just Tessa, CHKA, on Twitter and Instagram, which I really need to post more than stories of cats too. Tess Games. Mitsu, what about you?
Yes. And you can, of course, find me on twitter.com/MitsuShow, MITSUSHOW, and, of course, twitch.tv/Mitsu, MITSU, whenever I decide to go live, which happens every now and again as a treat where we hang out, play Borderlands 3. I have probably a glass of scotch, and we all just reminisce about the old days when we were doing ridiculous things with Borderlands 2 bosses, because, oh boy, do I miss those. But that is really about it. Just make sure that you guys are staying tuned right here, of course, to all of the social medias involving Borderlands, Twitter for Borderlands, which is all Borderlands wherever you can find it. If you guys love Borderlands as much as we love Borderlands, as much as we love talking with you guys as we do every single week. Tess, anything else?
You guys, huge thank you to absolutely everyone for hanging out with us on the stream, on our various game streams, on the Bordercast, on Ultimate Vault Hunter, on all of the creator streams. Triple G and TBJ Quag, both of them are incredible content creators. I put their links in the Twitch chat, but also you should just check out their Twitter. You should check out their channels on YouTube and Twitch. Even if TBJ neglects his, eventually he'll start posting to it. Just check out his Twitch for now. Just seriously. And Mitsu, of course, who's amazing, and my personal channel too. Just come hang out. And also we have a ton of really amazing creators you guys should check out. They're listed below the stream. There's a whole panel for it that gives you their links. All you have to do is click on their name. We have people like Tweety, we have people like K6 and Jolts, and everybody's in there, and they're all amazing. And Lazy Data, of course, and just everybody. They're all awesome. So go check them out. And thank you for being here. We are moving the Bordercast down south later in the day, to 2 p.m. Eastern. It's just 2 hours later, so it's not really a huge difference to most people. I think it might make a little bit of a difference to the EU crowd, but hopefully it's a better difference. I've actually heard from a few EU people that our previous time was a little bit too early for them. So 2 p.m. Eastern, hopefully it's going to be a little bit better. Better for me because I get to run beforehand, right? But either way, it's cool. Seriously, thank you so much for just being a part of our content. You guys inspire us so much, and it means the world. There would be no point to all these streams if you guys weren't here watching, if you guys weren't a huge part of the conversation. Thank you for asking us questions, sending us ideas on Twitter and here on Twitch and on YouTube and Facebook as well. You guys are awesome. So if you are listening, by the way, we do have a podcast. So you can follow us on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, YouTube Music, and Stitcher. We really appreciate it. Turn on those notifications. The posting schedule for those will try to be more regular soon. Just thank you for checking out the podcast and the visual content, and we appreciate it all so much. We appreciate you all so much, and we will see you next week at 2 p.m. Eastern on the same day, Thursday. And right after us will be Ultimate Vault Hunter at 4 p.m. with Quack. It'll be cool.
Right, which means we're going to need to be a little bit more snappy with our time. Anyway, on behalf of Tess, myself, and the entire content creation team, thank you so much for joining us as you do every single week. Now go forth and make some mayhem.